Begin. The 7-year-old pouted as he walked defeated towards the ramen stand. He had just been caught in another prank. Iruka smiled next to him. Why do you always do pranks? I know you want attention, but that's the wrong way to go about it. Get a hobby or something. Impress them with that and high grades at the academy. Naruto if possible pouted even harder. But sensei, the academy is hard. I don't get all that taijutsu stuff. I don't understand what chakra is. The only teacher that has even bothered to help me was you. Iruka stopped, a shocked expression on his face. Is Naruto telling the truth? Do the other academy teachers truly ignore him? It's true that Iruka will only be teaching them for a few classes, mostly theory. He was so deep in thought that he almost missed the last whispered bit. And I don't have a family to teach me what I missed. It was then that Iruka decided to be the parent Naruto never had. If Iruka can't be the parent, then at least the older brother. It seems you two are having fun. Iruka and Naruto turned. The Sandaime Hokage was standing there smiling. Mind if I join you? The Sandaime asked calmly. Iruka stuttered a reply. Why yes Hokage-sama. Why you can. Of course old man, Naruto said. No, yelled. Sarutobi smiled at their antics. Together they walked to Ichiraku ramen bar. What's a hobby? Naruto asked as Iruka and Sarutobi were eating their ramen. Teuchi answered. A hobby is something you do in your spare time. For example, your pranks could be considered a hobby. The Sandaime spluttered and Iruka glared at the ramen bar owner. If looks could burn, he would have fried human ready for eating. So he tried to save himself. But pranking is not a good hobby. Naruto looked at him confused. How is pranking bad? What would a good hobby be? Teuchi looked around. Someone help him. His daughter Ayame noticed his distress. Your pranking can hurt people, or disrespect the dead. Some are just silly. She giggled the last bit. Naruto smiled a wide and blinding grin. Iruka then made a suggestion. If you like eating ramen, why don't you learn to cook it? I mean, I'm sure Teuchi would love to help you, won't you? Hint hint. Teuchi smiled. Truly he was afraid that if he taught him to make ramen, he would never come back to eat it, because he could just make his own. The only way he could think of saving himself was to force Naruto to use his new awesome ramen making skills to work at the bar. Well, it's worth a shot. Sure, come by after the academy tomorrow, and I will teach you, but on one condition. You work here and use your ramen skills to help me make ramen. The next day, Naruto ran from the academy and nearly hit Sasuke. Sasuke just muttered under his breath. Stupid idiot. Only someone stupid rushes like that. Sasuke saw that Naruto didn't hear, or if he did he chose to ignore him. Very out of character. Truthfully, Naruto wanted to go back there and beat some sense into the stray Uchiha, but he was afraid of missing the learn to make ramen Class 1 if he turned astray from the quickest path. Once he arrived, he noted that the stand was closed. He sighed. He was late. He had just turned to leave when Teuchi's voice called from the ramen bar. Come back here, you're not done yet. Naruto turned and looked at Teuchi. Naruto smiled his blinding grin, and yelled. Yes, ramen making time. Needless to say, Teuchi wasn't going to have a break tonight. He looked at the over-energetic blonde. You do realize this isn't to be taken half-heartedly. Making ramen, or cooking in general, is a hard job, often too demanding. But the reward is more than enough to make up for the hard work. It will take you 2 to 3 years for you to truly understand and comprehend how hard it is. 2 to 3 years to complete the course. Naruto was too energetic to even listen. He was bouncing around corners and having a good time. It was then that he turned and yelled. Let's get started. 2 years later, Naruto ran towards his workplace. He had a new respect for the old man. Ramen making was hard work. Fortunately, he learned quickly. Teuchi was very surprised when he discovered Naruto had talent for ramen making. The best thing is that the ramen stand was profiting from it. Business was bigger than ever. Apparently his cooking was at the same position as the chef himself. Naruto was happy. Today he was going to take the ramen chef test. All he had to do was make a bowl of ramen in front of a crowd and then serve it to the judge, in this case his teacher. If it was good enough, he was granted his license in front of all the people. He arrived at the stand. The ramen bar was crowded. He walked up to the stand. He stood there waiting. Tucci cleared his voice, and the crowd calmed down. 3, 2, 1 begin. He calmed down. This was also a race against time. Go. Shikamaru and Chaoji walked down the street, going nowhere particular. Chaoji was the first to see it. Hey Shikamaru, what's happening over there? Shikamaru turned to where Chaoji was pointing. It was a large crowd crowding a ramen bar. Looks like a competition, Shikamaru muttered. Chaoji got excited. Maybe it's an eating competition. Let's look and watch. Maybe I will be able to enter, Shikamaru just sighed. How troublesome. They both walked towards the bar. What was there they were not expecting? Isn't that the loudmouth Naruto? Shikamaru looked at the stand. It was. Shikamaru looked at Chaoji. What's he doing? Chaoji looked at him, and said. He's making the ramen. This is the infamous ramen chef test. This is going to determine if he has what it takes to be a ramen chef or a chef. If General Shikamaru was instantly interested. Naruto was making ramen? Shikamaru knew Naruto loved the stuff, so that must be why the pranks suddenly died off. Of course, could Naruto ever really stop pranking? He had a different hobby. Shikamaru smiled. That also might explain why he didn't do so good at the academy. Naruto's fingers were a blur, working so fast that only a trained ninja could follow what his fingers did. His skill with the knife was flawless, the noodles just right, the soup was boiling in the pot, and all in all he was working like a master and having the time of his life. 2 years ago he never would have thought cooking could be so fun. Once he got his license he was going to collect a lot of recipe books and work on them in his spare time. Then it hit him. What if I lose my hands in battle? I'll never be able to cook again, and neither would I be able to do hand seals. I'll never be an effective ninja or cook. I would only have my legs to use. Well, I'll think about it later. His finger neared the soup and served it. He was done. Now for the hard part. Tucci sipped the soup containing the ramen. It was good, very good, but he had to put on the act. Soup passes. He ate the noodles. Very impressive. Noodles pass now. Try all of it. Ramen as a whole passes. I now present Uzumaki Naruto his certified ramen chef certificate. The crowd cheered. Naruto smiled. He had their acknowledgement. Although it wasn't by being a ninja, it was by being a chef. Well, acknowledgement is acknowledgement. Chaoji smiled with Shikamaru. Naruto may be a crappy ninja, but boy is he a good chef. I would want to be on his team just to be with him when he cooks during missions. Shikamaru silently agreed, but truly he didn't see the point. Why cook when he could be an effective ninja? Then again, when he thought about it enough, it made sense. Naruto didn't have a family to supply for him. Iruka Sensei may be helping Naruto, but Naruto is still too far behind to be of any use. Maybe Naruto took to cooking because he knew that if he failed to become a ninja then at least he has another backup plan. Shikamaru's respect for Naruto went up a notch. Naruto has his bases covered. Naruto smiled as he walked down the street, although people still glared at him. Now there were people who looked at him with respect, or they even smiled at him. It was life in heaven. As he neared his destination, he looked at the book in his hands. The Best of Recipes by Blackleg. Tucci's recipes book was not going to waste. Sarutobi was usually a patient man, but even the most patient of men have a limit. The Sandaime had reached his. What on earth could he give Naruto as a present for passing the ramen chef test and birthday present? He looked into the crystal ball and watched Naruto look at his recipe book, and then he saw the author's name. Blackleg. Where have I heard that name before? He knew it was from a jutsu scroll, but which one? As always, the best way to find out is to look. 5 months later, the 10th of October. Sarutobi smiled. He finally found it, just in time as well. It was a Taijutsu scroll. He still couldn't find a way to open it though. Well, he would give it to Naruto. Maybe he would have better luck. He left the office and walked towards Naruto's apartment. Naruto was going to love this year's birthday present as well. It was that time of the year, his birthday. He turned 9 today. Truthfully, he didn't like this day. The people ignored him more, and they even got a little violent. If he were lucky, he would get a birthday present from the Hokage and Iruka. Not that he counted on it. If only Sakura-chan would notice him, then his life would be complete. He would use his awesome ninja skills to while up Sasuke and get Sakura to notice him. As he was pondering ways to humiliate Sasuke, someone knocked on his door. Instantly suspicious, he walked towards the door and peered out his spy hole. He saw it was Iruka and the Sandaime. He unlocked his door and let them in. "Hey Iruka-sensei." Old man Iruka twirled around and hit Naruto on the head. "You will not disrespect the Hokage." Naruto grinned sheepishly. Sarutobi smiled warmly. He looked around the apartment. It was clean, especially the kitchen. He paused only to listen to Naruto when he spoke. "Thanks for coming. Do you want anything? I'm cooking something from my recipe book. Want to try it? I cooked enough for 3 just in case." Iruka smiled. "Just the meal thanks," the Hokage copied Iruka. When they began to eat the meal, both Iruka and Sarutobi started crying. Naruto was instantly worried. Maybe they didn't like it? Just when he was about to ask, they cried in unison. "This is the best meal I have ever eaten. You have so much talent. The village is missing out on something great." Naruto grinned so big Iruka and the Sandaime had to close their eyes to keep the glare from causing permanent damage. It was then Naruto voiced his worst fear. "I know my cooking is good, but I'm afraid that if I become a ninja, that in battle I'll crush my hands. If I lose my hands I can't cook, but I want to be a ninja, because in order to become Hokage and have everybody respect me, I have to be a ninja." Naruto sighed. Both Iruka and the Hokage nodded in understanding. They each had a similar worry. What if they lost the ability to do hand seals? They both took this time to hand Naruto their birthday presents in hope of cheering him up. Iruka handed him a new suit. It was classic ninja colors with the Uzumaki swirl on both sleeves. It came with a Chunin-style jacket and blue shirts and black pants, all of which came with shuriken holders. There were a total of 2. Each was larger than Naruto was, leaving room for growth. "Therefore when you graduate." Naruto nodded. He understood what that meant. Sarutobi handed Naruto the scroll. Naruto looked at it. Red leg style, developed by Black Leg. Naruto stared at it. Legend says that Black Leg was a famous pirate once to travel the seas before the Bijou existed. He was a famous cook as well. His fighting style was supposed to be put into that scroll by the first of the chakra users. No one has been able to open it since. I hope you have better luck then. Naruto looked at the scroll in interest. He was going to open it and learn that style. He had no style of his own. He was exited. After Sarutobi and Iruka had left, Naruto looked at the scroll. He saw the notice as he tried to open it. "Place the recipe book near the scroll and use the basics." He grabbed the recipe book. As he placed it near the scroll, each hummed in a light blue. He then tried to open it again. No use. Using blood, nothing. He sat and thought for 10 minutes. Nothing was working. He grew impatient. He kicked the scroll as hard as he could. It opened. Staring in shock, he watched as there was a large poof, and a large scroll appeared. He fainted. Begin. Last time. He grew impatient. He kicked the scroll as hard as he could. It opened. Staring in shock, he watched as there was a large poof, and a large scroll appeared. He fainted. When Naruto finally woke up, he looked at the huge scroll that lay out in front of him. Studying it, he decided to open it. Within the scroll was a whole bunch of writing, and some stances. Naruto's excitement grew. This would be perfect. Near the end of the scroll was a section to sign your name in blood. He decided to ignore that for now though. The only part that really caught his attention was the purpose of the style. Apparently a famous pirate from long ago created the style because he was a cook. Naruto finally had the answer to his many problems. By using this style he will avoid damaging his hands. After cooking one of his delicious meals, he decided to put together a training schedule. Luckily the scroll came with a starter one. He read it, and began the stretches. Once he had finished the stretches he began working on the lower region attacks. Due to his size and how flexible he was, needless to say that was not many attacks. Once he had finished the forms and stances, he looked more extensively at the purposes of the scroll. Using the feet as strength, he liked the sound of that. Strength to break almost anything, he also liked that as well. It was a good style. The signing in blood confused him though. Why sign something in blood if the style was already listed there? He might as well do it later. Once I have learned everything to do with the styles and forms, I will sign my name. Maybe it's a bunch of more moves or something, Naruto thought to himself. If only he knew. The next day was the academy. Naruto grabbed his orange clothing and ran towards the door. He had little time. His alarm went off 30 minutes late. As he was running eating a quick meal he put together the night before, he nearly ran into Shikamaru. What's he in a hurry for? He is only. Oh no, I'm 30 minutes late. Shikamaru thought about running towards the academy but decided against it, claiming it would be too troublesome. Naruto was in such a hurry he missed the glares he was getting. He even missed the smiles coming from his work's favorite customers, which was actually probably 1/6 of the entire village's population. Yes, Naruto managed to leave the Ichiraku ramen stand and begin to work at a kimchi restaurant, in which because of their superb cooking skills they are known nationwide. In Konoha, Naruto is the most requested cook, his cooking skills favorite. You could say Naruto has managed to gain recognition as Konoha's best chef. Unfortunately he wants recognition as a major ninja, so he still attends the academy. Now back to the story. Naruto continued the run towards the academy and ran into Iruka, as he was about to close the door. "You're late, Naruto." Naruto had the decency to scratch the back of his neck sheepishly. "Sorry Iruka-sensei, my alarm went off late, and stuff." Iruka sighed. "Get into class, we're working on substitution." Naruto walked into class, and sat in a seat near Dog Boy. Dog Boy aka Kiba is a ninja who belongs to the infamous Inuzuka clan. His canine companion is a nin dog named Akamaru. Although one would expect dogs and foxes to not get along, for some reason this is not the case. Within the wild there have been known cases in which the nin dogs have in fact worked with foxes to achieve a greater goal. For this very reason the Inuzuka clan are under the impression that what the Kyuubi did was for a greater goal, which was all they had managed to get out of the dogs that talk. Luckily for Naruto this means that the heir of the Inuzuka clan, Kiba, has been advised to become friends with Naruto, although whether he does or not is up to him. Substitution, more commonly known by the name of Koerimi no Jutsu, replacement technique, was what the class was learning today. Iruka walked towards the board. "I am sure you all know what chakra is, so before any one of you idiots can interrupt," Iruka glared at Naruto. "I am going to take this time to write on the board the hand seals needed to perform Koerimi no Jutsu, replacement technique." Once Iruka finished writing the seals on the board he performed them. All the students watched in awe as replaced himself with a log. Once he finished Naruto could barely contain his excitement. Iruka then addressed the class. "Everyone, let's go outside to practice the technique." Everyone ran outside. They were excited. Once everyone had lined them up in front of a log, Iruka got them to practice the hand seals. Naruto decided to take that a step further. He attempted to perform the jutsu. Unfortunately he should have listened to Iruka further because you have to focus on what you want to replace yourself with. When he was performing the technique he was focusing on a pink-haired wonder, Sakura. "When I perform this jutsu, Sakura will have to notice me." Unfortunately because he was thinking this he was focused on Sakura. So he switched with her. Unfortunately he put the wrong amount of chakra into the jutsu. Thus they collided with each other. Everyone was laughing. Naruto was nervous. Sakura was walking menacingly towards Naruto, cracking her knuckles. Naruto's screams were heard all over the elemental countries. Sore and injured, Naruto walked home. When he managed to open the door despite his muscles' reluctance to agree, he walked over to the kitchen and made himself some ramen. Quick and easy. After eating the meal he walked over to the scroll, studying it further. He had yet to use the style at the academy but he wants to once he at least decent with it. Slowly he began the painful stretches so he could use all the attacks. "This is going to be a long year," he muttered under his breath. 1 year later. Life was good. Naruto was finally good enough to attempt to use the style at the academy. He was excited, so excited that he ran towards the academy half an hour early. Naruto was 10. Earlier he had another small birthday. Only this time was got clothes that were not ninja orientated and some chakra control scrolls. The chakra scrolls he requested because his chakra was pathetic. He decided to learn how to use his chakra better. Once he had reached the academy gate, he jumped. The size of the jump was what you would expect when one focused chakra into the legs, but in Naruto's case it was pure muscle. Kiba was playing with a Kamaru when he saw Naruto, or as he called him, Dobe, jump over the gate and wall. He whistled. Not many could boast that. Kiba absently, though he must have used chakra. So he went back to playing with his nin dog. Iruka was not so dumb. He saw that it was pure muscle. He thought to himself, is that due to the taijutsu style? I have seen him practice it as soon as he goes home every day. After his precious ramen though, I think that I will have a taijutsu focused match between Kiba and Naruto. I want to see how good this style is. Everyone was nervous. Iruka had announced that there would be a test on how far everyone was in taijutsu. The first match was going to be Naruto and Kiba. No one except Iruka was interested in this match. They all knew who was going to win. Kiba was one of the best in taijutsu and Naruto was the worst. He just never improved in his form. Iruka snicked when he heard these comments. If only they knew. Show me what you have, Naruto. Kiba laughed. He had the best possible match. Naruto was the worst. He entered a classic Inuzuka style. Naruto just stood there with his hands in his pockets so that they are out of the way and placed his left leg in front of his right. The starter-id leg stance. Kiba scoffed. He couldn't use his hands. How could he expect to fight like that? It was full of holes. Naruto just smiled. Iruka laid out the rules. The rules are simple. 1. No ninjutsu, jinjutsu or the like. 2. Any style is allowed. This includes taijutsu-oriented techniques. 3. This match will continue until either one loses or I call the match. 4. Anyone who steps out of the ring will lose. Begin. Kiba took the initiative. He ran full bore at Naruto. Naruto just stood there, hands in his pockets and left leg in front. Kiba jumped and threw a punch. Kiba's won. Naruto can't block was Shikamaru's observation. Iruka just chuckled. Just watch Shikamaru. Naruto has this under control. Shikamaru suddenly took interest in this match. What was Iruka on about? Naruto's hands were in his pockets. How can be blocked with them there? Luckily for Shikamaru, the next move revealed how. No one, especially Kiba, was expecting this. Naruto lifted his left leg and kicked away Kiba's high punch, then used the kick momentum to pull a 360 and kick Kiba on the side with the same leg. Kiba was kicked out of the way. When Kiba landed and began to stand up, Naruto ran at high speeds, faster than he had ever displayed before. Jiggered legs was what he called as he pulled a sweeping kick to Kiba's kneecaps. Kiba was sent flying onto the other side of the ring. Everyone had a sudden interest to this match. Naruto was displaying skill he had never shown before. Shikamaru knew how. Of course he was never good before. He isn't good at the academy style because he was practicing this style at home. Iruka smiled. Shikamaru was a genius in hiding. Kiba cursed. How did the dope get so good was what he was thinking. Kiba decided he better get serious. Shikayaku no Jutsu, 4 legs technique. Kiba then got on all fours and ran at increased speeds. Naruto was hard pressed at blocking and defending. Eventually Kiba got a hit in. Kiba was impressed. He lasted longer than he thought he would. Naruto was pushed towards the edge of the ring, but he managed to stay upright. Naruto angered attacked Kiba with a newfound energy. This time Naruto managed to keep up with Kiba. Why can I keep up now, when before I had no chance at keeping up? I was being thrashed, and now we are even. In fact, I think I'm gaining the advantage. This was true. Naruto was beating Kiba, but it was so small a margin the fight could still go either way. The students watched in awe as Naruto and Kiba fought with skills only destined shinobis could boast, respect growing as well as skill. Kiba went for a low kick. Naruto jumped over the kick and attempted to kick Kiba's chest. Kiba saw this coming and jumped back, retreating. Both Kiba and Naruto were panting. They had been at it for the last 10 minutes. Although that may not have been a long fight for a ninja, they were still students. Kiba then used a move he still hadn't perfected. Tsuga, Fang Destroyer. He attacked, spinning so fast he appeared to be a tornado. Kiba thought to himself. This takes too much energy to use like this. I still haven't perfected it. I only have one chance. Naruto knew that this would decide the victor, so he used a finisher move. This would determine the winner for good. Mountain shot. Mutton shot. Naruto jumped and put as much power as he could into the kick and met the charge full on. Once again respect for the other increasing. Once the attacks hit, a powerful airwave hit the audience, causing the weaker students to fall backwards. The people who remained standing waited for the dust to settle so they could see the winner. When the dust finally settled, it showed nothing. Neither Kiba nor Naruto were in the arena. Both had landed face down outside the ring. It was a double knockout. Naruto was the first to get up, Kyuubi healing the injuries already. Slowly he limped over to Kiba, who was still too injured to get up. He lent a hand to Kiba, who took it. Together they left to the nurse's office. In one match, a powerful friend and ally were gained. The Sandaime smiled to himself. They say more words can be spoken in a match than in a conversation. Through proving he was not as weak everyone thought he was, Naruto had gained a new friend. Thanks for the support guys, and like and subscribe.